We have the legendary American hero, my hero, guys, Jesse Ventura, talking about his legal law case, okay, with American Sniper, Chris Kyle. The movie American Sniper was made after this guy, so amazing movie, but, you know, pure propaganda, of course. This one's going to be legendary, guys, talking about the system and how they try and, you know, basically X factor you, okay? They try and get rid of you in the media if you try and push back against the certain agendas, basically like they're gonna eventually do to me, you know, in Ireland. It's gonna happen eventually, guys. I'm just waiting for the day it happens for them to kind of, you know, take my YouTube channel to the next level. As soon as they diss me, as soon as RT come for me, my YouTube channel is gonna explode. I can't wait. But Jesse Ventura, obviously big lawsuit, and then all the media came after him. You guys are gonna love this one if you love the videos, my political videos that I talk about. Like, comment, subscribe. For those hating on Jesse Ventura in 2025 for saying to vote for Kamala Harris, yeah, guys, he's really old now, so he probably lost his mind. But back in the day, he was a legend, okay? He was an absolute legend, so let's hear it.
You sued Chris Kyle's estate.
Well, him first.
Him first,
and then it
that's right.
automatically reverts to the estate on his tragic death, yeah.
Right. And so American Sniper, and I've had a lot of choice words to say about him. And so people get mad at me for, oh, he's a hero. Yeah, okay, he served. Jesse, you ever served with anyone that didn't tell the truth before? Oh, my guess is there's a decent number of people that are human beings that serve
in the
who
Navy,
don't tell the truth.
In the Navy, it's called sea stories.
There you go.
A term for it.
Yeah.
It's very well known in the Navy. It's called a sea story.
Yeah. So having nothing to do with your lawsuit, Chris Kyle was not sitting on top of the Superdome shooting random people in the middle of Hurricane Katrina. Of course he wasn't. That's an obvious lie, right? So there's so many things he says.
Not to him.
Yeah. So you sued him because he lied about you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the law is there for.
It never happened, and it literally destroyed my public career. Mm-hmm. Because I was off the grid at the time the story broke, living off the grid in Mexico. I couldn't defend myself. All I could do was Skype my attorney and bring a lawsuit immediately to stop it. And then I didn't return until May. And by then the damage had all been done. I lost my television show over it, Conspiracy Theory, over that. I could not get any employment in the United States because of it. I was a pariah for defending myself, and all the time they portrayed it that I was, after he died, that I was going after the widow and the children, which wasn't true, because anyone that's written a book, in the contract, any lawsuits are handled by the publishing company, and they have insurance.
Yeah, so he didn't sue his wife and kids, okay? He sued the publishing company, okay?
They have their lawyers to handle that. So the family was never in jeopardy of losing anything, and I wasn't out for money. I was out to clear my name.
Yep.
And he wouldn't do it when I met him face to face. He did, for all the courage he had, he didn't have the courage to tell the truth.
So he had said that you had started a fight with him?
No, he said that what happened was we were there together. That event occurred. I was there because in the tradition of the UDT SEAL community, when every 100 classes, I'm class 58, well, I came to the graduation of class 158. That was back in about the year 1990, roughly, I think. And this was now going to be the graduation of class 258 tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So I flew out to San Diego to attend their graduation.
Yeah, if he's flying out to attend the graduation of Navy SEALs, why would a Navy SEAL snake him like this, guys? It's all done on purpose, guys, okay? They didn't like his show Conspiracy Theory. I grew up watching Jesse Ventura. I remember watching Conspiracy Theory with my dad and my brother at like 14 years old. The best show of all time. If you guys haven't watched Jesse Ventura Conspiracy Theory, go watch those shows because they're amazing.
So McPease is the watering hole for all the SEALs in Coronado. So the night before I went there, I met friends there. We sat at a table. Well, Kyle and his group were there also. They were there in a wake for one of their comrades who was killed in the Iraq War. And they were there for a completely different reason than we were. And they also had an $1,100 drinking budget. That they drank, their bill that night was $1,100 for the Kyle group. Do you think they were intoxicated?
That is some amount of alcohol, guys, to be, and I'm pretty sure back in the day as well, the US would have been cheap for beer, like, especially back in 2009, he said, that's 1,100 euros or dollars. That's crazy amount of money, guys, that the people were spending to flip and drink, okay, to honor their fallen comrade.
Yep. And so what did they say happened?
My group was not. Nothing happened. I took pictures with people. Nothing occurred. The next day I went to the graduation. The graduation happened. The following day we had a get-together Saturday on the beach of my class of classmates from old. And I went home. Never occurred to me. And then in the year 2012, this book comes out where he alleges that I said Navy SEALs deserve to die and lose a few. Now, why would I say that about my own unit?
Like, it's absolutely insane, guys. People just make up lies en masse. I remember when I first started YouTube, like a couple months after I started the YouTube channel, like, old friends of mine were, like, making up bullshit lies and just lying en masse about me saying something about people living still at home with their parents and stuff like that. And, like, I live at home with my parents. Why would I make fun of somebody for that? You know, it's just people are super jealous of you in life, guys. And they want your attention. They want to get your sort of, they want to get into your head. So what they do is they make up lies about you and then purport that everywhere. It's insane, man.
If I believe that, why would I be there honoring a graduating class? Makes no sense. He then said that I bowed up to fight him and that he decked me, knocked me down, and then ran so he wouldn't get caught. Well, in the trial, no one testified they saw me get hit. Not even his buddies could say it. Nobody testified that I said anything like that they heard me do that.
That's why you won.
That's why. And think of that for a moment. He's now gone, and the trial automatically goes to his estate to clear my name. How overwhelming must the evidence have been for the jury to have sided with me over the widow of the dead war veteran? But they did.
It's huge.
And the jury didn't know that the insurance is paying for it. They thought it's coming out of the estate, and they sided with you anyway.
No, but they did learn that because the federal judge allowed it in at the end of the trial. Because why? They did what was called poor mouthing, which is an exception. Normally, they don't allow the jury to know that insurance is involved. But if the other side poor mouths, if they get on the stand and say, oh, this is strapping me financially, when it's not, that's what they did.
So they were lying. So the family came on the podium and said, you know, this is making us broke, this is like influencing our family, it's like taking money from our pockets. And it wasn't, because, like I said, the publisher was paying for it, guys, okay, because they were the ones that published the book, and they're lying. So then it came out in the trial to the 12 jurors, okay, that, you know, the publisher is paying for it, so.
They led the jury to believe that I was hurting the family to lower. So
lying scumbags. Everyone, I don't know what happened, guys, after lockdown as well, and this is when my sort of, you know, rigmarole happened with my ex-friends and shit. Just lying scumbags. They're just jealous, bro. They're just jealous you're becoming successful. You're doing well in life. You know, everybody wanted to take pictures with Jesse Ventura. He was a legend. Obviously a little bit anti-establishment. You know, Chris Kyle would have been for sure, you know, establishment. And then they have to make up lies about him.
So they'd win the case. Right. Well, then the judge still wouldn't let it in because we appealed to him. They're poor mouthing. Wouldn't still let it in. Finally, 2 people from HarperCollins, the book company, came to testify to diminish my role in the book, right? So I wouldn't get a big award. Well, at that point, they're the ones providing the insurance. At that point, the federal judge ruled it can come in limited now. That's too big of a conflict of interest. When they're the ones providing the insurance and they're here testifying to maybe change or lower the award.
Damn.
So what happened, it was 4 questions in an 11-day trial. It was a half a page of a final summation of 20 pages. And the appeals court overturned it on that. and said the jury was poisoned, even though they admitted the award wasn't out of line. And that's supposed to be taken into consideration too. Now, when the award's out of line is when they award $140 million. I won 1.83.
Crazy. So he won basically, not that much money relative to what did he say? Hold on.
So
40 million?
Is when they award $140 million.
Yeah, so it's only a big deal when they award these massive sums amount of money, but he only got 1.4 million nothing, right?
I won 1.83.
So, look, the case is interesting in and of its own right. The case is interesting because you've got two really big personalities that Americans know. You, Chris Kyle. So it gets a lot of attention. But actually, the most important part of the case is the appeal. Because then the media companies came
into the case.
And against you
yes,
during the appeal.
wanting it overturned.
Why?
Because I won on defamation and what's called unjust enrichment. That they made money by defaming me, which they did. We proved in court. Do you know what Kyle's book sales was the day before he said what he said about me? 2,000. Do you know what the book sales was? It came out in the courtroom. You know what it was a day later? 100,000.
So he basically skyrocketed that book, guys. So that book was like a niche category book, 2,000 sales. And then Jesse Ventura, they came out about the fight, 100,000. That's crazy, bro. The next day, what the hell?
You mean when that controversy broke?
Wow.
In one day, it went from 2,000 to 102,000. Pre-sale was 2,000, and then he comes out with this revelation that he punched me out in a bar. And it jumped 100,000. And
Chris Kyle is a piece of shite, lads.
HarperCollins went so far as they then continued it. They wanted it rolling. We got their emails where they say, this is hot, hot, hot. We got to, ride this. Who ever expected? Even they never expected. It was a niche book.
Yeah.
It then soared to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Well, guess who the booster rocket was that took it there?
Jesse.
What he did to me.
Right.
Jesse's an international celebrity, guys. Like, for those who don't know him, he's super famous. Jesse the Body Ventura. He was in Predator. Like I said, my favorite thing of all time, his conspiracy show. Like, the dude is a legend. Okay, now obviously, like I said, in his later years, he got a bit dothery, lads. He's not really with it like all so much. But in his early years, guys, he was a legend. Okay, in his later years, not so much. But in his early years, around this time, still, he was a legend, guys.
And so, again, the media companies...
They even made it to where if you typed my name in on the internet, it automatically went to the Kyle story. Now, they don't have a right to do that with my name on the internet.
That's crazy.
Jesse, look, I know you've gotten a ton of heat for it. Okay, but it's... Here, you don't have to convince anybody because I know the guy's a notorious liar.
Yeah.
Okay, that book is riddled with lies. So, am I surprised that he made up a story about you, a guy who pretends to have shot people from the top of the Superdome? Of course,
you don't confront me in a hotel in New York and scream at me in front of me and all the public.
You get that all the time now, right?
Not all the time, but I get it.
Yeah, so he's obviously... And this is the thing, guys. People make up lies and rumors to destroy your credibility, to destroy your reputation, to destroy your life. These lies will be ruining people. Because, words, I don't pay massive attention to people's words anymore after the instance with me, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, because people can just lie en masse and they try and destroy your name because you're so much better than them. They will never be even one iota of what you are, guys. So stay strong. I love you guys all. Stay free as well, of course. And yeah, it's great to see that people, are getting their comeuppance. And be very aware of these, these lazy, ambitious people. I think Patrick Bet-David said it. The worst people in the world are these lazy, ambitious people, okay? These lazy, people that, think about big things but don't actually put the work in, okay? They have these big ideas, but the work doesn't get put in, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.